You are listening to the Independent Dealer Podcast with hosts Luke Godwin and Jeff Watson. Thank you so much for tuning in. Let's do this.
All right. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Independent Dealer Podcast. We have a special dealer panel episode that we're going to be bringing to you today. We have Chris and Matt. Now, Chris is out of upstate New York. Is that what you said, Chris?
Correct, yep.
What area is that?
Lake George, Saratoga.
Lake George. Okay. And Matt, you're coming out of Florida.
Central Florida, kind of on Disney's doorsteps in Lake Wales.
Oh, okay, yeah. And then, of course, you guys all know Luke is in South Carolina, so we got the East Coast represented very strongly in this episode.
Well, people, the problem is
down the
Jeff,
west side of the country.
Well, the problem is, Jeff, you people are on this odd time, and y'all can't get up this early, I guess.
I just barely got into the office. For me, my day just started. I don't know what time is it there.
It's noon.
So you're ready to clock out, huh? You're
yeah,
done?
it's already. I've already had lunch, man.
Siesta time, huh? All right. Well, great, guys. What we want to talk about is just get your guys' temperature for how you're doing, what your dealerships are up to. Just help us maybe relate to some of the other dealers in the group. We want to be able to learn from each other. I think all of us have spent our time on Facebook. We've been on the webinars. We've been listening to all the authorities in the industry kind of tell us what to do, how to do, where to do it. But I think it helps when it comes from dealers because we're the ones really on the front line. We're the ones taking the pain when we're actually having to lay off employees or send them home or lock down the lot. I've seen guys that take all their cars off. They go and park them in a field somewhere where they can keep their eyes on them. To me, that blows my mind. So maybe, Chris, let's start with you. What's the current status there in upstate New York? What are you guys dealing with? What do you got going on?
Current status is, it's grim. So we're not nearly as bad as the city area, thank God, but it's close. So, we're 200 miles away. So it's on the doorstep. So everybody is definitely nervous. We have the stay-at-home orders. Sales, they opened us up last week. The governor did to appointment only. Which really doesn't help me being a subprime dealer. We haven't sold a car in 2.5 weeks, I think, and we're gonna just shut the doors at the end of tomorrow for the entire month.
Hey, Chris, can I? And I want to challenge you on this because a lot of people are subprime, right? And so, why can't you define it? Work your process so you can get those people qualified and bought and everything without them being here.
So it might just be that I'm not good enough. But the way I've always worked my store is, maybe I'm a dinosaur, even though I'm a young one. I get them in, I get them qualified, I get them in love with the car. I do my best to extract as much down as possible. It's very hard to do that digitally and remotely because the second you tell somebody they're going to need $1,640 down and they're going to have a $98 a week payment, it's much easier to close that deal with them in the store as opposed to closing it from 20 miles out.
Well, so my average down payment is for last year was, let's say, $1,750 or whatever it was. My average payment was over $400 a month. And we pretty much, even before all this happened, we qualified them over the web. Documents were there. Everything was there. We always talk down payment after we have them qualified to see what they can do. So I think you can do it. I'd be willing to bet you if you keep plugging along, you'll figure out that process.
I don't disagree with you. Like I said, maybe I'm just not good enough or I don't know how to do it. So my question is, how do you advertise?
So when I put branding out, it's all TV, but that's usually during tax time only, but the rest of ours is fully digital. We're
Facebook or Google or both?
Pre-roll, Facebook, not a whole lot of Google, AdWords, but a lot of Facebook, a lot of local branding, and it's just we push our message that that we're here for subprime people. We're buy here, pay here, but essentially we're competing against Westlake and CAC and Santander and all those. But I think if you adjust your process a little bit, I think you could do it.
I don't disagree. I think I need to adjust my marketing first. So for the last probably 18 months, my marketing has been, zero down, $5 down, $10 down, kind of BS for lack of a better word, and then try to extract tax and plates, and then get 500 plus tax and feds. So I might just need to really change my marketing strategy during this time.
And I don't know the New York market at all, but it seems like if a lot of times when you put out that zero down, you're going to get a customer looking for zero down. Message matters a lot, and so maybe it's time. And during this time, you may have to adjust your message a little bit. And that goes for everybody. We're gonna, we've had a slow week this week. We had the past 2 weeks have been fine, but I cut off all marketing at the moment. But
of course, it's slow.
Of course, it's going to be slow. But our website, our leads hadn't dropped that much, so it's not like it's the end of the world. But we anticipate to be slow in April either way. But I think that adjusting your marketing during this time and adjusting your message might be not even just for you, Chris, but for everybody. We got to figure out what's gonna get traction during this time, and that's a struggle I think for all dealers. Don't you think, Jeff?
Yeah, I'd be interested to know, Chris, just so other dealers can relate. I want to know the nuts and bolts of this. Like when you say, "Hey, I'm going to close my doors," if a dealer's in your similar situation, debating on whether they should be open or closed, what have you found to be, or what process are you taking? Have you laid off all employees or furloughed them so they can get on unemployment? Have you talked to your if you got a landlord, your credit line? Like, do you feel like you're in a situation where you can shut down, and maybe you're getting some CAC checks, so that might be able to help you float cash wise and income wise? But I guess what's kind of the process or the hoops you had to jump through?
So the first thing I did was I spoke to my entire staff here. I told them that they would all be laid off, and I also intimated to them before the federal stimulus package came out that whatever they normally get, I will give them the difference. I don't want to lose my team, so they normally, sales is a little bit different, but I'll take care of my salespeople always. But my support staff, if they normally come home with 682 and the unemployment was going to be 391, I let them know that I'll make up that difference while we're out. I did speak to my landlord. I got a $2,000 reduction in my rent for 2 months. I don't have CAC monthly checks. That being said, we're coming off a really strong 10 weeks. And we have I don't know, probably not as good as many, but maybe better than some. We're in an okay cash position that we could certainly afford a zero revenue month.
That's good.
But
no flooring lines you had to deal with?
What was that?
Flooring lines that you have to deal with? Have you worked out deferments?
Yeah, we've worked out, although they all seem to kind of be changing their tune midway. But like I floor with Westlake, and they were like, yeah, we'll help you with curtailments, blah, blah, blah. I intend to start buying again in about 10 to 14 days. I'm waiting to see how the virus reacts in New York and when the numbers start to dip. I feel like once the numbers start to dip, I need to start buying cars, because I feel like once the floodgates open, they're going to open, and there's not going to be any used cars because the new car dealers aren't selling stuff either. So I wanted to make sure my lines are open. So Westlake had closed everybody in New York when they shut the state. So I said, I don't want you to turn me back on. So I get her to turn me back on, and then last night she texted me, by the way, now that we turned you back on, you're going to be expected to make all your curtailments. So, so I'm like, I wish you would have told me that, earlier in the day. I would have waited 2 weeks. But yeah, it is what it is, and we're going to struggle. It's not going to be easy, but thankfully we're in a halfway decent cash position for the month.
Yeah, so then that's really what's so interesting about the timing of this whole thing is coming right on the just cutting off the end of tax time for good or bad. This is the time where most dealerships are in their strongest cash position, hopefully. We do have a lot of inventory on hand, most of us still, but we did get a pretty good influx in February and part of March. Matt, tell me this, how are things going in Florida? What's the situation there? We know you guys are a shelter in place, but you're deemed essential, so you can kind of be open. Same situation, almost by appointment. Are you seeing the traffic? Are you staying open, or are you going to close down?
So we are open. We have limited hours. We're pretty small. There's only 3 people, well, 4. My mom does the title work. It's just a family business. We My dad and I are alternating days, and we're limiting hours. We're going 9 to 3 right now. It has been slow. We were having a very good first half of March, and then kind of started slowing down, and then it pretty much stopped, honestly.
Yeah.
I am grateful at this point to be buy here, pay here, and that, collections have still been quite good. I expect that to start to slow down here. We're going to have to start working with customers.
Let's talk about that real quick, Matt. And I'm a buy here, pay here. Jeff's buy here, pay here as well, and you are. We're in a different position than most dealers. So I want to say, we are glad that we're in buy here, pay here. What have you seen on the collection front? What have you heard from customers? Because we've had a bunch of calls for deferments, and we have a policy in place. But a lot of customers that are asking for deferments don't need them. And what we've had to do is educate the customer why they don't need them, or why they don't deserve them. I think what might be the better way to say it. Matt, what have you seen?
Yeah, so kind of the same thing. I actually have been surprised that we haven't gotten as many calls as we have yet. I do think it's coming. We have had some customers that work for places. It's a benefit of being a small town. Who's open and who's not. Saying that they're off, been laid off and everything, and we know that they're still working. But we ask every customer the same thing. They need to provide a letter from their boss or their HR stating that they are unemployed, and we're asking for screenshots of bank account statements too. And so I've had about 5 people call. Only one of them has provided that. I have not heard back from the other 4. So we're going to get some people that are going to try and get a free payment, and we're definitely going to be more prone. It's the customers that don't pay as well that are asking for it, which is, I'm sure.
Yeah, use
That's
it
what I
as an
was
excuse like they always were. So we're doing 3 things. If you got laid off, you have to give us proof that you filed unemployment. I'm walking them through the steps. We're showing them exactly how to do it. I'll drive them over to the unemployment office. You know what I'm saying? Because people just throw their hands up in the air and they don't want to do it. They don't know how to do it. They don't blah, blah, blah. B, you got to show me you got current insurance. And C, you got to send me a screenshot of your oil change sticker, because I want to make sure that collateral is taken care of, because I could defer you for 6 months. It doesn't matter. I mean, you're upside down $2,000 now. You're going to be upside down $2,500 in 6 months. Like, if the used car market doesn't go through the roof, like Chris was saying, it just might, So if you're upside down, you're upside down. Big deal. I defer you a payment, but it's the collateral. If you're not taking care of the car, and you don't have insurance and you total it, or you didn't change your oil and you blow the engine, that's what worries me in the deferments.
Jeff, I'm glad you said something about the inventory real quick. Let's go around the panel here and talk about inventory, position we may be in, the position we expect to be in, let's say in 60 days, and what do y'all anticipate the market doing? I'll start. We're in a low inventory position right now, and I have been trying to buy cars through my normal sources, and I'm not able to. And that's new car dealers don't seem to be willing to sell the car for what I think they're worth right now. And what I've kind of looked to see what they're worth is what they're bringing relative to MMR. I think MMR is not reacted quick enough to this inventory mix-up, and I don't know. What do y'all see? I need to buy some cars, but not able to get them done right now. What do y'all see?
I think that's only going to get worse. I mean, the new car stores aren't selling, so they're not getting trades to sell you. I think it's only going to get worse, and I think the moment that let's hope that some people are right when they say it's going to be a strong V, right? Like we're taking this big hit down and it's going to pop right back up. I think we could all agree that demand for everything is going to skyrocket. I mean, my wife hasn't got her hair done, her nails done. She wants to. I'm dying to go out to dinner and get a beer. I mean, so it's all going to, I think there's going to be a huge influx of money back into life. So when people start buying cars, I think that nobody's going to be able to replenish. And I think used car prices are going to go through the roof.
So Chris, I like the way you think, and I've got a little bit of that, thought process. But one thing that holds me back on that is, well, what if these floor plan companies say, you know what, we've brought your level down, we're not letting you back. And then also there might be 25% less independent dealers when we come out the other side of this. So is demand really going to spike like that, or is it going to be only the strong survive at that point?
I think only the strong are going to survive. Period.
Yeah,
But
I agree with you.
I still think whether there's a dealer or not to feed the need for cars is still going to exist.
Okay.
So whether you're out of business and Jeff is out of business and Matt's out of business, that just means they're all going to come to me instead.
Right.
So no matter what, we still need X number of cars, and the amount of dealers that shares in that sales ability. That's the only thing that changes. The need for the cars won't change.
So Matt, you're in buy here, pay here, and you're in the car buying capital of the world. I mean, I go to Orlando every 3 weeks normally. I hadn't been down there since the end of February, and I think I got the coronavirus when I was in freaking Orlando airport flying back home that Thursday morning, but neither here nor there. What do you see in your area? Because that's where everybody buys cars.
Yeah, so first of all, we'd appreciate if all you out-of-state guys would just stay home. So we are not actively going to physical auctions right now. We are still buying on ACV. We have lowered our ACV, our actual cash value in the vehicles that we're looking to buy right now, downward a little bit. We don't use floor plans, so we're not as dependent on what they're making us do, which we are very grateful for.
Yep.
So if we see a car at a good price, it kind of fits in the year and miles that we want to buy, and if it's in a good deal, we're going to buy it.
You're not backing off either.
Well, we are backing off on our higher ACV cars.
Okay.
Yes, but no, there's still some what we consider lower ACV for the car that we sell. We will still buy it if it's a good price.
Yeah.
And Jeff, you say you have enough inventory. Were you that stocked up?
Yeah. Well, actually, unfortunately, yeah. But so my gamble was, it's the whole trade-off for those of us that. So I cash floor everything, and that's the trade-off of, do I want to have the cash in reserve to weather the storm? Or do I want to go out and get the deals that I think are on the streets right now? And so we bought 5 or 6 last week at Manheim out of Vegas, just online. And we did pretty good, $1,000 to $1,500 back at MMR on each one. Got them in here. Recon was a little bit higher because of the fact that we weren't able to drive them. We got deals on some Silverados, but we had transmissions and rear ends and things like that. But all in all, shoot, man, I think it's a great gig. I think, to Chris's point, do we think the prices are going to be higher coming out of this? Or do we think that everything's going to take a dip? And there's so many factors to that of whether or not, if this is prolonged, I think we're going to have a long-term slowdown in values, right? If this is just a blip on the radar, we're going to jump right back, and hopefully the pent-up demand will kick in and we'll all be selling again. It's not like these 2 months worth of buyers are just out of the market now. Maybe they don't have the cash. They spend it elsewhere. They just decided they're not going to buy anymore. They're not waiting to buy. They're just not going to buy. The other, wild card we talked about a couple weeks ago was, what if these book companies, MMR, Kelly, Black Book, NADA, what if they just decide that as policy, they're going to take out March, April, May from the books? They're going to rewrite their algorithm because they feel like it was an anomaly and they don't want to crash the used car market. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how they work, if that's even legal or possible, but so there's a lot of these little X factors that might come into play. But for me right now, we're picking up the deals,
I wish I could get them to sell them to me that were 1,015 back of MMR. And what I'm seeing is, even though I'm the high bidder, and I've probably been the high bidder over the last 2 weeks on 25 plus cars, that I've not bought a single one that I was a high bidder on.
Yeah.
And they were mostly anywhere from 2,000 to 1,200 back of MMR.
I'd say it's the same thing with us, though. You think about the new car stores and the off leases, the big wholesalers, they're hoping to weather the storm, but there will come a point where they got to turn it into cash.
Yep.
And new car stores are going to be hit hard. Just from what I've heard and who I've talked to,
I agree.
They are going to have to turn those cars into cash. So if you got the opportunity to go talk to your new car store, get in with the wholesaler or whoever's left down there, the used car manager, they're going to be under a lot of pressure just to get cash out of these cars. And same with the auctions, and the big wholesalers, when they start stocking up inventory like that, it's going to get to a point where they're going to cut it loose.
I agree.
my opinion. Chris, to your point, when you said, hey, there's going to be used car guys taken out of the market, that is the exact reason why I am keeping I'm keeping my doors open, because I've got employees to support, buy here, pay here to support. And I think that selling a car is a service that's needed right now. But also, if there's only 10 sales to go around in my neighborhood this week, I want all 10 of those. Because when this dust settles, I don't want to be the one out of business. I don't want to shut my door for 4 weeks and then not be able to reopen. I want to take every last sale in the market, so that my other guys, my competition, has to shut their doors permanently. They're not in the market on the other side of this. So that's part of my philosophy on being open and being aggressive.
I don't disagree with you. And if I was buy here, pay here, I would be, at that point, you have to be open, because you have to service your existing accounts.
Yep.
But
for sure. Being a buy here, pay here, if the blood is in the water and your people think that your doors are closed, I can't even imagine how you're dealing with that.
No question.
But from your standpoint, Chris, back to Luke's challenge in the beginning, find a way to make it happen. I don't know if appointment means you have to be delivering the car, or if appointment means, hey, just come in at 3:00. I'll be here. And I'm going to pace you out. I'm not letting everyone flood. I don't know. It
does. So actually, and I don't really know how they'll police it, but in New York, you cannot work the deal in the store. You can only be in the store for delivery. And that's it. But sign a contract and deliver. I don't really know how they would police that, to be honest with you. I have no idea.
Chris, do you have Carvana or no?
I do not have Carvana, no.
In New York? Carvana's not in New York?
They're not in my area. I'm not going to say they're not in Europe.
I would probably press that issue, because I promise you, Carvana's selling cars in New York, and I would probably be willing to deliver at that point. But I don't want to tell you to do something illegal.
No. You can deliver. That's what I'm saying. You can deliver. No, by that point, you can't work the deal in the store.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
But if they come I don't know how they would police that, though. And the terms have, you're establishing the terms at the time of delivery. The negotiation happens all the way up to the signature. So again, like you said, I don't know. I would be as within the legal boundaries as creative, but that's my theory. I don't know. That's why we're here. It's been slow for us, one a day, one every other day, but.
No, if I was selling one a day, I'd be thrilled. I got to be honest with you. I love that Luke just challenged me a few minutes ago. Sometimes you need that in this fight. So, I think I have some work to do this afternoon. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no problem. That's what we're here for, man.
Hey everybody, Jeff here. Sorry to interrupt the interview, but I wanted to make sure everyone knew about the new and improved theindependentdealer.com website. It is the place to find out what is going on with the podcast. Check out all of our episodes on iTunes, our social links. You can also give us your email, and we will add you to our mailing list, so you are the first one to know about what is coming up, new and exciting here at the podcast. Also, check out our video library. You can also ask us questions, find out more about myself and Luke, and see our calendar of events, places we'll be speaking, where you can catch up with us and meet us in person. So, theindependentdealer.com. And now back to the interview. No, I think that's a good point for all of us. And I'll be honest with you, there have definitely been times in this when I think, you know what, the world's shut down. I'd like to shut down. I'd like to just take 4 weeks off and go jump in the RV with my family and vacation out in the boonies. You know what I'm saying? I think that too sometimes, as like, it's time for a vacation. I don't want to have to deal with all this. But I think as dealers, we've got to look at this and say, all right, are we going to fight this? Are we going to kind of lay down and just let it happen? Is it strategic? And for Chris, it could be strategic. Hey, I know that if I close my doors for 4 weeks, I'm actually saving cash and I'm not wasting my people's time and I'm not putting them at risk. So I am going to close, and that could be completely justifiable. But I think we need to be, what's the word? Tenacious. Like let's look for those opportunities. And maybe Chris goes down to 2 people. Hey, it's him and a receptionist, or him and another sales guy, or him and one mechanic. And I'm going to deliver one every other day, only by appointment or by limited exposure.
And I would
got to be creative.
Yeah, and I would encourage everybody out there to, do a video. Let's look at Flying Wheels and what he's doing. And he's all over right now. But people are at home and they're looking at YouTube and they're doing those type things. So and they're looking at Facebook. Make a video every day of how you're doing the virtual approval, or how you're doing the virtual car drive, or whatever. We can do all these things. So I would challenge everybody listening to this today to go out there and do those things. Do those things that you haven't been doing, because that's going to be the difference between the people who close and the people who stay open.
And to that point, we talked about it last week or the week before. This isn't a bank crisis.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? CAC, Westlake, Lobel, these guys are still buying, right? At least from what I know. I mean, I don't know how your callbacks have been, Chris, with CAC. They're a little more sticky.
The calls have been a little difficult the last week or so.
Yeah,
I'm sure that they're a little bit nervous like everybody else. I mean, it's easy to just say they're a bank and they have the answers, but I'm sure that they're like, But it's not 2008 where there's just no one picking up the phone. No, we don't have an economic problem. I agree with you. We don't have an economic problem.
And what happens in 2 weeks if those Trump checks end up in people's accounts? All of a sudden I got $3,000.
No, I'm hoping that doesn't hit until like end of April, beginning of May.
Yeah, I think they were talking about 3 weeks. So I think we got a little bit of time to prepare for that.
So are we doing deferred downs on those? For those buy here, pay here's and those CACs that are allowed for your, deferred down? Would you do a pickup payment? Would you know what I'm saying?
I would do anything. I would do anything to sell a car.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful situation there, Chris. Like you said, I mean, there's some opportunities coming up. Be creative.
Let's talk about one thing that came up when we were talking. A salesperson and I were talking last night about customers who currently have a job, but maybe they're laid off, waiting for unemployment to kick in. How are we qualifying those customers right now? We know they're going to get their job back when this all clears. How should we all look at that? I'd like to get everybody's opinion.
I think the federal stimulus puts a weird tweak on that, because we think everybody's going to go back to their job, but if these people are really going to be getting this extra $600, if their unemployment's 382 and they normally make 600 a week, now they're making 1,000 to stay home.
Yeah.
Are they running back to work?
Well,
good luck, man. That's the next crisis. You guys, whoever laid off their employees, their $12, $15 an hour employee, you ain't going to be able to hire them back because they're making 20 on unemployment, not doing anything.
Yeah, but hold on. That's not going to go on for long. I mean,
the whole year, right?
39 weeks.
It's through December or something. Yeah, like you literally. So what happens to everything, man? The drivers at the auction, the guy making your burger, he's now making $20 to stay home. Why would he go back to work at 12?
No more porters. we are essentially our porters now.
Oh yeah, you'll never find entry level. It's just not there.
Oh Lord.
You know what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. Well, we should end on something better than this. So let's let's find something fun to talk about. Anybody got anything fun to talk about? Anybody playing golf? I mean, come on, something.
Golf. We only got like one course open, and they're booked for weeks.
Oh my Lord.
Yeah. I think on the upside to this is what Chris was talking about earlier.
Look, is that vodka in there?
Yeah. What do you? Anyone on the video? Chris has got Luke's got a massive flask. Now's the time to get your ship straight, guys. Now's the time to look at your policy and procedure manual. We all talk about never having time to work on the business because we're too busy working in it. Now's the time to work on it. Set up your underwriting guidelines. Set up your policy and procedure manuals. Get those stupid checklists done. Get your CRM figured out so that you can remarket to your current leads. Get those little projects done, organize, repaint the building, paint the stripes, fix the balloons, straighten the signs, get all those project cars in the back liquidated or parted out on eBay. Like, there's a million and a half projects you could be doing so that when we come out of this, you're not still backed up with all the garbage. Go audit all your files. Get in there and look at, your whole place. Clean out the closets. I mean, there's so many things and projects you could work on and also put your employees to work on.
For sure.
That's what we've been doing the last 10 days.
Yeah. Those cars you weren't going to fix, hey, maybe now's the time to fix them. You know,
We've already dug through all those. We're trying to find like other stuff to do now.
Yeah.
Work on
Instead of sending
cars.
that $1,000 junker to the scrapyard, why not freaking tear it apart and put it on eBay? You know,
That sounds hard.
Right. Or maybe now's also a good time to buy project parts, right? Steal a couple that need trainings or need motors and just do the work.
Yeah,
Keep your mechanic working and monetizing them.
the for sale by owners, man, you could be hustling Craigslist and Facebook nonstop right now, trying to find people that are fire selling their stuff.
And maybe even call some other dealers. If you have a service department that's slowing down, call other dealers that need work done. And if you've got to reduce your hourly rate or something to keep your techs busy, do it. Because you don't want to lose techs during this time.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Matt, give us some words of wisdom to leave with. You've been awfully quiet.
So, yeah, I mean, I'm here to learn as much as I am to talk. We'll get through this. It's not the first crisis we've been through. It's the first crisis I've been through since I started back full time out of school. But we've been here for 55 years, and we've seen gas crisis, the Great Recession, everything. We'll get through it. It sucks right now. Can't really sugarcoat it, but it'll get better.
Well, cool. We wish everybody luck out there because it's going to take a little luck and it's going to take a lot of preparation to make it through this. Sit on cash still. Don't be crazy. Don't do anything ridiculous. And keep as many people working as you can during this, because that's gonna really matter in the end. I think is how you treat your people and how you treat your customers.
I agree with everything you just said.
Thanks, Chris, Matt. Appreciate your time. Really appreciate you guys joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Stay strong. Reach out if you need anything. Obviously, everybody else listening, Matt, Chris, Luke, myself, we're always willing to help out.
Yep.
Absolutely.
All right, guys.
All right, stay safe, guys.
Guys, enjoy the rest of the day. Be good, guys.
Take care.
Thank you for joining us today. Hope this episode inspired you to take positive action. Remember to subscribe so you get each episode the day it comes out. And we would love your help spreading the word. Leave us a review and share this podcast with your dealer friends. Dealers helping dealers learn and grow together.